Yeah, hello guys. Here in this video we cover the topic of measure of dispersion. So now some recap the previous concepts. Uh, till now we are discussed about the descriptive stats. If I am not right, not wrong. We are discussed the descriptive stats. In descriptive stats we are doing the univariate analysis. Univariate analysis. For doing a univariate analysis, we are using the uh, descriptive stats category is measure of central tendency, measure of central tendency, yeah, of central tendency. We are go through in depth of mean, median, mode concepts with an examples. Um, with an examples. Now, is that only way for doing univariate analysis is the measure of central tendency? No. Is another way for doing univariate analysis is nothing but measure of dispersion. Measure of dispersion. Dispersion. While hearing the about this word dispersion. Um, what do you mean by dispersion? Can we say this like deviation? Yes, or spread. Let's simply call as a measure of spread or measure of dispersion or measure of deviation also. Now, for this measure of dispersion, for understanding these kind of terminologies, I will taught you one example. Throughout gaining the knowledge about spread, what do you mean by spread, why it is near, and what is the measures to calculate the spread. For that, I will take an example. So, I have a data like height, weight, and gender. Okay. Now, tell me, for this data, how to calculate spread? How to calculate spread? Think how to calculate the spread. So, for that, uh, before that, uh, uh, we have to we are dealing with univariate analysis. Means only single number value. By looking this spread is the single number value. Means by seeing this whole data, we can say the spread is this single number value. No. Mm. For calculating the spread, first we need to calculate the height column and weight column as well as gender column. Means we calculate the spread also at a time only one column. So first we need to calculate the height column and weight column as well as gender column. So for calculating the spread, we need the measures. We need measures. For that, we have data like. For that, we have data like height column, some weight columns and gender column. So first we need to calculate at a time only one column. So that's why I take the height column. In this height column, we have various type of values like centimeters, 150, 160, 190, 180, 140. But now, tell me, uh, for looking this data, can we say the spread of the data? What is the spread for this data? The spread for this data? Yes, we can say. How? Because when we have the maximum value in our data and minimum value, when we find the max value and min value in our data, the difference between these two terminologies is nothing but spread. Okay, so clear cut. Here the maximum value is 190 and minimum value is 140. The difference between these terminologies is 50. So 50 is the spread for this data. Okay, now these kind of calculating technique or measure is known as range. So simply the range definition is the difference between maximum value minus minimum value is nothing but a range. A range is a one of now we can say that a range is a one of measure of calculating the spread. One of measure calculate to calculate spread. Now the point is, do you know about the outliers? Huh? Yeah, hope you previous concepts. The outliers are nothing but extremely high value, extremely high and extremely low values can be treated as outliers. Right now, if our data contains outliers while calculating this spread, while calculating the range, what will happen? So something our data like that, no? 160, 190, 140. Now our data contains 10 and 1500 as the outliers. These are the outliers. So extreme and so uh, low level values. How can you decide this is and so extreme and so low level values means? By seeing our data only, we can say that this is the high value and this is the low value, and these the difference between our data and these values are more. So that's why we can treat it as these outliers. So now tell me the range formula. While calculating this spread, we need a measure. Now we have a measure like a range. So for range, we have a formula like maximum minus minimum value. So before doing range, is it mandatory for is it mandatory for for sorting? Is it really required? For that question, definitely no, not required. If our data have a maximum value and minimum value, you can easily identify the data. Yes, for doing sorting only, we can easily identify the maximum value, minimum value, but it taking a lots of time consumption. So there will be a time complexity will be happen. So same like median. Median also a time complexity, having time complexity problem, having time complexity issue. For this also we face the issue of the time complexity. That's why we don't we avoid the concept of range for the special for time complexity, and as well as some outlier concepts like range is it no is it a range is a range is a good measure for calculate let's spread. For this question, the answer is no, because impacted it is impacted or affected by outliers. So means here how it will be affected means the range formula look like the max minus min. So here we can see our data. The maximum value is 1500 and the minimum value is 10 value. If these are two outliers, the maximum value also a 1500 and minimum value also a 10. So here here the outliers calculation will be present in our formula. That's why it will be affected by outliers. That's why it is a good not a good measure for calculating the spread. For these kind of rectifying these kind of disadvantage of range or issue of range, for rectifying these kind of issue of range, we go for variance. So yeah, everybody think like that variance is a somebody will be taught, somebody will be a remember only formula for variance. What do you mean by variance? Simply they say summation I equals to 1 to n divided by n xi minus mu by whole square. So everybody say like this now. So how this formula got means for this formula for this it is a formula, not a definition. So the definition is before the discuss about the variance, we need to know about the spread is important or not. Why spread is important or spread is important or not. So for this question, I will take an example. Again, take an example. So every time we go for an example, and then only we understand the concepts. This is a height column, this is a weight column, and another is a XYZ column. Like this column contains only tens. When we calculate the difference between these data points, we are getting every time we get the value as 0. So 0 means there is no spread. There is no spread. No spread means no information. No information. For no information, why we are doing a analysis, like why we are doing why we are taking so much time for doing analysis for no spread of our data. So for this spread, for this question, spread is important or not. In my terminology, spread is also a very important term while doing univariate analysis also. And while doing a spread also, we know about if our data consistency or not inconsistency. So Now variance. So don't say like that variance is nothing but it is a formula. So variance is the definition of variance is nothing but the difference between, we find the difference every in total deviation terminology, we find only difference, the difference between the data point and mean. Here in range, the difference between two data points, difference between two data points. Like suppose take an example for this these scenarios. We have like 10, 20, 30. The spread between 10 and 20 is 10, like 20 and 10 is 10, and the 30 and 10 is and 20. And every time we calculate the data points, it is taking more time consumption method for doing this. That's why we will choose the, first we calculate the mean for the data and subtract the every data point from the mean. It is a easy way, and it is a drawback from range, and it is an advantage. We can say that this is an advantage for the variance. So let me try to define one example, like understand the term of what do you mean by difference between data point and mean. Suppose we have a column 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now while can we say that variance is nothing but deviation around mean, difference or spread or dispersion around mean? Yes, we can say variance is nothing but deviation around mean. For this data, when we calculate the mean, 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 divided by 5, we get the answer like 7. So now let me define these data into number line. Let me define these data into number line. So number line looks like this now. Okay. Now we have the data like column 1, what data column name is, and the number is 3, 4. Our number line contains the values 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Our data contains for the data points like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 5 will be present here, and I will draw the dot for this data point. 6 and 7 will be appeared here, and 8 will be appeared here, and 9 will be appeared here. So for this number line, mean is 7. So now variance is nothing but spread around the deviation around the mean. Okay, spread around the mean. Now comes to the point, how far away data from point mean means. Spread around the means means how far. What do you mean by spread around the mean means how far away the data point from mean. Means our mean is 7. Now 6 is the away from the mean, that is 1 unit, and the 9 is the away from the mean is 2 units. Here the spread is 1, here the spread is 2. This is mean. What do you mean by spread around the mean? Means spread around the mean means how far away data point from the mean. Now this line, let me write in formula way. Let me write in formula way. It is nothing but 8. When we take the 8, we need mean, the difference between the deviation between data point and mean. So mu minus data point minus mu. So both are same. Here is the facing the issue. Let me write another one, data point minus mu. Which one is correct or which one is wrong? Okay. For 8, when we take the 8, here the mean is 7 and the data point is 8, and the result is minus 1 spread. Here the data point is 8, the mean is 7 and the result is 1. Okay. When we take the 9 as a data point, we know the mean is 7 and the data point is 9 without the minus 2. And here the data point is 9 and the mean is 7, and the difference between data point and mean is 2. Okay. Now the 7 as the data point, again we know the mean as 7 and data point are also 7. This is 0, the difference between these two terminologies, and this is a 7 and this is 7, the difference between those two also 0. So when we talk about the number line, environment show like this. No? This is a 0. This side will be a negative value. This side will be a positive value. Now, by seeing this, this is the facing an issue, because if we choose this terminology, our data points will be looks like 0, negative values will be this side, and positive values will be this side. If we choosing these, the data will correct, looks like correct to manner. That's why we will go for this only. This is the wrong. Okay. Now that's why we'll every time every time the everybody should write like data point minus mu only. Okay. Now now we are trying to calculate variance. No? We are trying to calculate the variance. So variance is a single term. Variance is a single term, single number represented by spread. It is a single number represented by spread. So means suppose by looking this data, means this data, it is a single number value. No, it contains multiple values. So now we need a single number value. So further we calculate the mean. For this reason we calculate the mean. Then only we got the single number. Okay. For mean, formula is like sum of observations by total number of observations. Right? Total number of observations means we have when we calculate the s and so on, we got the 0, 1, 2 as well as. So our data looks like this. Sorry, we have column 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The difference between data point minus mu equals to here the mean is, while calculating to getting mean is 7. So the difference between data point and mean is here 2, here is 1, here is 0, here is minus 1, here is minus 2. So it doesn't represent a single value. For spread, it is spread represented by a single value. That's why we need to calculate the mean. When we calculate the mean has a formula like sum of observations by total number of observations. That's why we need to do 2 plus 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 2 divided by 5. Now it is represented as a single number. Here comes to the point, it's look like fishy. It is somewhat fishy thing because we again got is 0. 0 means no spread. But when we look into a numbered line, 7 will be present here, 6 will be present here. The spread is 1, means here somewhat information will be present. When we calculate this terminology, we got the 0, means no spread. No spread means no information. By seeing this data, we can decide the somewhat information will be present in our data. So this is the issue. We are facing this issue. Now for this in order to make it not 0, what is the thing we do? What is the thing we do? Means if we don't want to use 0 as a result, here what is the issue? This is a minus 1. Sorry, this is, that's why we got this 0. Okay. So what is the thing we do in order to make it not 0? So for that we need to avoid a sign. We need to remove sign terminologies. Signs means positives, negatives. For this thing, remove sign means we need to do either absolute deviation for the data or squared of the data. Then we gone the negative values and total will be converted into a positive value. Here also same thing, the minus minus will be multiplied and the result will be in positive. That's why we need to do absolute deviation or else square deviation. But we can't do absolute deviation because everybody knows about the differentiation. So differentiation is a discontinuous function. Discontinuous function. Okay, so sorry, differentiate. Everybody knows about the differentiate. It is a discontinuous function. Discontinuous functions are not differentiable. Make it more. Discontinuous, discontinuous, continuous functions are aren't differentiable. Differable. So every time we go for a squared only. Now we have a data points 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the difference between mean minus data point and the mean here, the mean is 7 when we calculate this data. So the deviations are 2, 1, 0, minus 1, 2. For we need to do remove signs. That's why we can't use the absolute. Every time we use the square method only. That's why mean minus data. Fine. We got the 4, 1, 0, 1, 4. Now we calculate the mean. So what is the result? 4, 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 4 divided by 5. Now 5 plus 5, 10. 10 divided by 5, 2. The spread is 2. Now the issue will be con. 0 will be a con. So here the again my question is is the 2 is a correct spread? Correct spread? Then if yes, okay. If wrong, what is the issue? Here the answer is issue wrong because we are doing squares. We are doing squares or magnifying our data. Our data. So for cancelling the magnification we require root. Okay, so that is the reason why we are having standard deviation. Means here the 2 is wrong answer. For this because of the we are doing squares, we are rectifying this issue by using by doing a root for the 2. This whatever the data 1.414, this is the correct spread for our data. That's why every time we need to do square. We need to do roots. Whatever the when we are calculating, means listen guys, this is a very important question. When we are getting variance, when we are getting variance, we need to do a root that will be converted as standard deviation. Standard deviation is nothing but square root of variance. Simple. So this is the reason why only we choose the square in the instead of mod, and this is the reason why we are looking for standard deviation is a correct measure for dispersion technique. So next video we will go for recap of this class and as well as standard deviation, why we how we calculate the standard deviation, as well as overall among the range variance and standard deviation, and again another measure is median absolute deviation. Among these terms, what is the best measure for calculating this spread? What is the disadvantages of spread? What is the disadvantages of range as well as variance and standard deviation? How will come out these kind of how will we come out of these kind of issues by using the median absolute deviation? We will go for in next videos. Okay, so in our next videos we will go for standard deviations and pros and cons of dispersion measures. Okay, hope you are very well understand this video. Now I want to explain Hindi and Telugu both languages at a time because the video go to taking so much time. That's why I will explain both in 1 to 2 minutes. Reason here मेजर ऑफ डिस्पर्शन डिस्पर्शन में अपन लोग पहले जो प्रीवियस वीडियोस में हम डिस्कस करे थे डिस्क्रिप्टिव सर्च उसके लिए यूनिवेरिएट एनालिसिस करे थे उसके बाद मेजर ऑफ सेंट्रल टेंडेंसी यूनिवेरिएट एनालिसिस के फाइंड करने के लिए यूज होता है बल्कि मालूम हो गया था मीडियन मोड एंड दिस इज द रीजन और कुछ वे है क्या यूनिवेरिएट एनालिसिस फाइंड करने के लिए बोले तो वो है मेजर ऑफ डिस्पर्शन इसमें अपन को कौन से टेक्निक यूज करना है डिस्पर्शन को क्या बोलते हैं डिविएशन एंड स्प्रेड बोलते हैं इसमें कौन से टेक्निक यूज करना है क्या नहीं उसके लिए मैं एक एग्जाम्पल लिया हूँ हाउ टू कैलकुलेट स्प्रेड वी नीड टू ये पूरा डेटा को देख के अपन लोग स्प्रेड नहीं बोल सकते क्योंकि स्प्रेड एट ए टाइम एट ए कॉलम को ही फाइंड करना पड़ता है अभी अपन को एक सिंगल नंबर वैल्यू आता सो उसके लिए अपन को थोड़े मेजर्स होना चाहिए फॉर दैट वी हैव ए डेटा लाइक हाइट कॉलम ले लिया हमें एक हाइट कॉलम लेके इसमें हम डेटा इसका स्प्रेड फाइंड करा इसका स्प्रेड फाइंड करने के लिए अपन को एक मैक्स वैल्यू एक मिन वैल्यू है तो बस से उसके बाद स्प्रेड आ जाता बट ये पूरे टर्मिनोलॉजी को अपन एक नाम दे रहे वही रेंज बोल के बोल सकते हैं अपन द रेंज उसका रेंज का फार्मूला है मैक्स माइनस मिन द डिफरेंस बिटवीन मैक्स एंड मिन इज समथिंग बट रेंज बोलते से आउटलेयर से इफेक्ट हो जाता समथिंग एक आउटलेयर आया समझो इसमें मैक्सिमम वैल्यू में से 1500 10 भी आने के चांसेस रहते हैं सो उसके लिए अपन लोग आउटलेयर इज नॉट ए गुड मेजर फॉर कैलकुलेटिंग दिस स्प्रेड बोल के बोल सकते हैं उसके लिए अपन अनदर टर्मिनोलॉजी यूज करते हैं वही वेरिएंस वेरिएंस बोले तो सब बोलते हैं कि फार्मूला बट ये फार्मूला कैसे आया क्या नहीं बोले तो उसके लिए अपन थोड़ा इन्फॉर्मेशन पढ़ना पड़ेगा वही उससे पहले अपन क्या करेंगे स्प्रेड इज इंपॉर्टेंट और नॉट बोलने के लिए एग्जाम्पल दिया इधर एक कॉलम है एक कॉलम में पूरे 10 10 10 10 है इसको इसका स्प्रेड कैलकुलेट करते हैं अपन को जीरो आता है जीरो मीन्स नो स्प्रेड मीन्स नो इन्फॉर्मेशन okay here the range difference between range बोले तो क्या है the difference between two data points here variance बोले तो क्या है difference between data points around the mean बोले deviation around the mean उसका दोनों का मतलब एक डेटा पॉइंट लिया तो उसका टोटल कॉलम का मीन फाइंड करना उसमें से उसका सब्सट्रैक्शन करना वो डेटा पॉइंट का एक नंबर लाइन में ले लिया तो अपन को समझ में आ जाएगा लाइक ये डेटा पॉइंट है डेटा पॉइंट्स अपन को नंबर लाइन में ट्रीट करे तो ऐसा ड्रॉ कर सकते हैं मतलब फाइंड कर सकते हैं नंबर लाइन 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 लिया तो डेटा पॉइंट अपन को 4 5 यहाँ है 6 यहाँ आइडेंटिफाई करके अच्छा 7 से 6 को 1 यूनिट दूर है 7 से 9 को 2 यूनिट्स दूर है मतलब इतना स्प्रेड आ गया आज बोल के बोल सकते हैं बट यहाँ क्या कर रहे हैं वही टर्मिनोलॉजी अपन लोग हाउ फॉर अवे द डेटा पॉइंट फ्रॉम द मीन वही यूज कर रहे हैं नंबर लाइन को यूज करके लेट मी राइट इन द फार्मूला इसको ही फार्मूला के वे में लिख सकते हैं अपन डेटा पॉइंट्स माइनस मीन सो अपन डेटा पॉइंट्स मीन कैलकुलेट करें तो ऐसा आ जाता ऐसा आ गए तो आपको पूरे डेटा पॉइंट्स से देखो पूरे पहले वेरिएंस बोला तो सिंगल नंबर वैल्यू से रिप्रेजेंट होता बट इधर अपन सिंगल वैल्यू मेजर नहीं ले सकते बिकॉज इधर अपन मल्टीपल वैल्यूज है इधर सो इसके लिए अपन क्या करते हैं मीन को फाइंड करते हैं मीन फाइंड जब करें तो सिंगल नंबर वैल्यू डिजिट दे रहा बट ये क्या कर रहा इधर जीरो बता रहा मतलब फिर अगेन नो स्प्रेड नो इन्फॉर्मेशन एक इश्यू है ये इश्यू को रेक्टिफाई करने के लिए अपन को क्या कर रहे बोले तो इस जीरो को जीरो नहीं बनना बोले तो क्या करना इधर साइंस बोलते हैं चेंज करना इधर साइंस को चेंज करने के लिए अपन लोग यहाँ पर एब्सोल्यूट भी ले सकते हैं इधर स्क्वेयर भी कर सकते हैं अपन लोग अगर एब्सोल्यूट लिए तो एब्सोल्यूट बोलते हैं डिसकंटिन्यूअस फंक्शन ये डिसकंटिन्यूअस फंक्शन कभी भी डिफरेंशिएबल नहीं होता ना अपन का डेटा ऐसा है अपन का डेटा ऐसा रहने के बाद अपन लोग कैलकुलेट करें समथिंग ऐसा आ गया दैट्स व्हाई वी विल चूज द स्क्वायर बोलते हैं कंटीन्यूअस फंक्शन है डिफरेंशिएबल होता सो 4 1 4 आ गया स्प्रेड इज 2 आ गया नाउ वेरिएंस इज 2 आ गया अब ये एक 2 बोलते हैं करेक्ट स्प्रेड है या नहीं ये करेक्ट स्प्रेड है तो ओके नहीं है तो एक इश्यू होता भी रहेगा वो इश्यू क्या है बोले तो अपन लोग स्क्वायर कर रहे हैं मैग्नीफाई कर रहे हैं डेटा अपन लोग की मॉडिफाई कर रहे हैं डेटा को तो वो मैग्नीफाई कैंसिल करने के लिए अपन को एक रूट की जरूरत है यहाँ पर इसीलिए बोलते हैं अपन जब भी वेरिएंस आए तो उसको रूट करना वही होता है स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन ओके अगली वीडियो में अपन लोग स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन एंड कॉन एंड कॉन्स के बारे में पढ़ेंगे डिस्पर्शन टेक्निक यूज करके ओके guys thank you for seeing this kind of video hope you are getting the knowledge from my side hope you are doing very well if you understand these terminologies very well you can go for any interview to crack the statistics questions in depth of technology in depth of knowledge means if you are getting this kind of knowledge then only you can create the YouTube videos for explaining more clarity to who are interested in about the knowledge persons. So thank you guys, thank you for watching my videos. If you are getting knowledge from my side, please subscribe and share, and don't forget the like the like share from my channel. Thank you guys, bye bye.